So here we have our beautiful doll head, and she basically is grown out. I shadowed her, I gave her a harsh communication line, and she has been previously lined prior. And I'm gonna show you guys how to break this up and create a really nice subtle blend. So before we start, I always prep all of my doll heads with Joy Codified Damage Pro 1. This is an incredible bond builder. If you guys haven't tried it out yet, highly recommend. We have the Pro 1 and then we have the Pro 2. These are in salon only services. And these are gonna be literally the next generation of bond building. They actually already are, I should say. And what they do is it makes the hair 5 times stronger. It reduces 80% less breakage, maintains 90% more color vibrancy, and gives you greater and more even lift. And we're gonna go ahead and start in the back. And all you do is spray and go. And this is why I love the bond builder. It's so easy to use, and you can use it as a standalone treatment as well. So if you're doing a haircut, you can still give them this treatment because it's gonna start working within the cuticle right away, and you can upsell the price for an extra $15, $20 if you want without having to have any downtime. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shape the can. We're gonna start in the back, and then we're gonna spray in short bursts vigorously. Moving our way up, shape the can again, and then spray downwards about 3 inches away from the hair. Okay, once we get to the front, we're gonna take diagonal forward sections. That way we're spraying everything away from the face, making sure that the client is nice and comfortable. And the same exact thing on the opposite side. All right, we're gonna go ahead and comb through for even distribution. And then we're gonna go ahead and get started on our lightening service. Okay, so again, as you guys can see, there's a pretty harsh communication regrowth here. She has been previously lined once again to like a level 8.5-ish, and she's pretty warm. Warm tones are super in as well. Cool tones, silver ash, they're beautiful, but they're not trending right now. What's trending is warm, gold, buttery blondes. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and section around into a couple of my zones. And again, so sorry for losing my voice. I'm gonna try to speak and be as thorough as possible while still maintaining as little voice that I have left. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start in the front, and we're gonna section out into my zones. All right, so we're gonna start with zone 1. We're gonna start down the center, in the middle, and take about 1 inch at the top, downwards, a slight diagonal back section to the ear. Okay, we're gonna do the exact same thing on the opposite side, making sure that everything is nice and cohesive. You wanna make sure that your sections are evenly as possible on both sides, all right? And then we're gonna go ahead and start to zone 2. I'm gonna take my comb, clip this out. Okay, I'm gonna take my comb, I'm gonna put it at the top of the crown, and then I'm gonna pivot downwards towards below the crown, and that is where I'm gonna take my section from ear to ear. The reason why I pivot is because if we're gonna be doing a partial, we want to have these highlights fall back here, so it's gonna look like a full when her hair is worn up or down. I'm gonna clip this out. And do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to be showing you guys kind of how to create a partial, but making it look like a full, all while breaking up that base or that high contrast, because less is more sometimes. Sometimes when we overdo it with a lot of brightness, we take away from all the depth and dimension. We still want to have depth and dimension in our hair, so it looks very natural. So once we get to the bottom section, we're gonna take about a 1 inch diagonal back towards the center section, and then on the opposite side, exact same thing. And this is gonna be zone 4, and then here is zone 3. Which way? So we're not even gonna touch zone 3 because again, this is gonna be more of a partial. We're gonna be just focusing on zone 1, 2, and 4. All right, so this top zone on level zone 2, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually take a mohawk section, kind of where the arch of her eyebrow starts, and we're gonna take it all the way diagonally back, or I should say horizontally back. And then we're gonna be leaving this part out for depth. Same exact thing on the opposite side. Take the horizontal section at the arch of the eyebrow. And we're gonna be focusing on the top mohawk section. And if you guys have any questions, you are more than welcome to DM me later or DM Joico or Cosmoprof, and we will try to respond and answer all of your questions that you have. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just put this away. I like to use my hair twig so that way all my sections are nice and clean. I feel like sometimes using clips can be a little bulky. So this is my zones. So we're gonna be focusing again on zone 1 right here, zone 2, top mohawk section, and then zone 4. We're gonna be leaving the sides out on zone 2 and then all of zone 3. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and line her with 2 different developers at the same time, because again, we have regrowth, so she's much darker, okay? And then we're at a level 8. So she's basically at like a level 5 right now, and then a level 8. So we need to jump 3 levels at the same time while still brightening up the ends. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with level 15 for the regrowth, and then level 5 for the mid to ends. Just that way everything lives nice and slow and steady. How you make level 15 is half and half of 10 and 20. And I'm gonna be using Joico Blonde Light Powder Lightener. This is my favorite liner. It gives 9+ levels of lift. It is very gentle to the hair. It has exotic oils. So it keeps the hair nice and moist as it's lifting. And the ratio to that is 1:1. I'm always mixed with Louis Shine, developer by Joico. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just get started with 1 scoop of bath. And then we'll do another scoop of level 15. Again, using level 5 for the mid to ends, that's previously lightened, 1:1 ratio. And then level 15, which is going to be half and half of 10 and 20. I like my consistency kind of like a Greek eel consistency, thick enough where it doesn't come off my brush and I can have enough product on my brush, but also liquidy enough where it doesn't feel too thick. Then again, it's 1:1 ratio, but I don't like to actually scale it because I know the type of consistency that I like that works for me. And I'm going to be using pop-up foils by Mars. These are very easy for those of you that don't have assistance. And just want to work with. They're really easy because they just pop up. And they also have this grainy texture, which is really nice because the minute you apply any product on there, the embossed texture will stick to the color and it's not going to slip. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to get started on the side. The reason why I like to start on the side instead of the top, front, a long section is because I'm learning from my own mistakes, and whenever I start up here, it's much more harder to get really close to that hairline on the sides because the foils are in the way. So I'd rather start on the sides and then move my way up. All right, again, we're going to be breaking this up, so we're going to be doing very subtle highlights on her, breaking this base up, so that way we're going to go away from the high contrast and more into a slight, more blended and natural look. Again, more of the Jennifer Aniston, just very sun-kissed natural vibe. I'm going to go ahead and take out her baby lights. I always kind of like to do almost like a clean, fine slice because I don't want it to look highlighted, if that makes any sense. I want it to have a really natural hairline. So when she wears her hair up, it's not going to look like she has highlights. It's going to look very natural, like she's just been kissed by the sun. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get super close as possible. I'm gonna really tighten that foil as close as possible to her, her root area, and then apply, holding that hair really tight so it doesn't slip. I'm gonna be applying level 15 on the regrowth. And then when I get closer to the root area, I always like to go against the grain of the hair just to give it more of a softer blend. This really does help with the blending effect instead of just leaving the product with a harsh demarcation line like that. And once we feel like there's enough product on there and it's not going to slip, we can let go. And then we're gonna apply level 5 on your mid-20s. If you guys feel like you don't need to brighten up the ends anymore, what I like to do is I like to apply conditioner, and I use Drink Defy Damage conditioner on the previously lined hair, and then apply the liner only on the regrowth. So that way there's treatment happening, it's conditioning her hair. It has, Drink Defy Damage has a smart release technology, meaning it has a built-in bond builder, so it's rebuilding and strengthening her bonds, all while she's getting that lift at the root. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to fold always at the demarcation line, so that way we don't have any product spread in other locations that we don't need it to, and everything stays put exactly where it's supposed to be. We're gonna go ahead double, triple fold, making sure that everything is folded away from the face. And then I like to fold this corner right here for the eye. All right, then we're gonna keep moving back. And normally, whenever I do a high contrast, I'll do another slice back right behind it, and I'll tease it for that more of a thicker, brighter money face. But we're going away from the high contrast and more into blended. So I'm actually going to do a bold light. So kind of more of a chunkier highlight, okay? I'm gonna be leaving this out for some depth. And what we could do too at the end is we can go through all the hair that's left out and apply a deeper base if you wanted to really give her a full transformation. So she just has more of a subtle highlight, low light effect. All right, so you guys can see that my piece. Oh, I'm gonna go and fold that back, and I'm gonna fold it after. I mean, sorry, not that many. You guys can see that old light, so it's more of a highlight, low light effect. And then again, we're applying level 15 on that regrowth. And then level 5 on the previously lightened hair. And then I like to just go again against the grain of my hair. We're not gonna be teasing the hair because we're gonna be breaking up highlights all the way at the root. So we're gonna go ahead and shadow her after with liquid Lumishine, 6 NW, and then tone the rest of the hair with a liquid 10 NW. And Draco has liquid and demi, and the difference between the two is, one, they have different tones and colors in both of them, both of the colors, but also the liquid is more sheer, so it's going to give you more softer sheer coverage, where the cream is more opaque. And the cream can also cover up to, if you have 60% or less gray hair, it can fully cover full gray coverage, where the liquid will blend in the grays. So there's many options when it comes to Joico and their color line. And then if she does have a lot of gray and you need to cover that up as well, what you guys can do is do the highlights and then go back right in, right after you guys are done foiling, and use their Lumi 10 line. It's their newest gray coverage line, and it will cover up 100% grays in 10 minutes. It's incredible. All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Again, I like to do everything cohesive on both sides. I don't ask how the client likes to part their hair, because I believe that you should be able to have a blended color or just a cohesive color on both sides, no matter how they part it. Because what if they decide to change it up, right? So I make sure that all my color is blended, brightened, and has depth evenly throughout the whole hair. Right, so again, I'm going to be taking another baby light, but I'm basically taking like a slice, as you guys can see. So it just has that brightness throughout. And we're not doing the highlight, low light look, because I don't want it to look striking anyway when she wears her hair up. We're going to get our foil, tighten it as close as possible to that root area. Really hold that foil area tightly, and then apply your higher developer at the regrowth, and then the lower developer on the previously lined hair. And I just want to say too, this is not the wrong way or the right way. This is my way, guys. So I want you guys to take in whatever I'm teaching today and then make it into your own versions, okay? Okay, once that is nice and tight, not gonna slip, we're gonna be applying our mid-lengths. And for those of you that are tuning in right now, I had lost my voice about a week ago. I went to APS Chicago and completely lost my voice for stage. Couldn't talk for 2 days. And while we were prepping the models, I was still hopeful that I could speak and teach. And literally, I had my voice come back for stage for an hour and then lost it all over again. So I'm still recuperating from that and trying to regain my voice. And it's been a whole week, so bear with me. Okay, and then exact same thing on the opposite side. We're gonna do a double light. Just so we have a little bit of brightness around the face still. It's not gonna be high contrast because we're not doing slices, but there's gonna be a little bit more brightness around the face, and then as I move towards the back, it's gonna get slightly more, have more depth towards the back. And this is minimal foiling. I probably take the longest when it comes to zone 1 to the front, because I'm so detailed. But then as I move towards the back, we're gonna be working really fast. And everyone's hairline is different. So she has like the perfect hairline, but sometimes I have to go in and do multiple baby lights throughout the whole hairline, following that hairline completely because no two people are the same. So make sure you don't leave any holes or any pockets of depth around the hairline, that everything is covered completely. Right? And then once I'm done foiling at the top, I'm gonna go ahead and push these out so it's away from the face. All right, last one. Follow that hairline. So she has like the perfect hairline, but some people have a widow's peak. So what I would be doing is I'd be doing another foil here and then another foil here. Always follow the hairline. So I'm actually going to go ahead and split her hair into two, because you guys can see it's slightly kind of winging out, moving out, and I want to get as close as possible again to the front rib area especially. And we are still working with level 15 Jacob Long Life powder lightener, and then level 5 on her previously lined hair, and level 15 on the regrowth. Again, for those of you that are tuning in now, you guys can go back after this live session is done, and it will be saved. You guys can go back and rewatch the whole video if you have any questions, or how I started, or how I sectioned her, etc. Okay, always fold again at that demarcation line, so no developers get transferred. And then double, triple fold. And same thing on the opposite side. And again, I'm very detailed when it comes to zone 1, because this is what the client sees the most, but also just in general, having integrity in our work. I make sure that every single strand looks perfect and beautifully tailored to the client. All right, so for someone that has a thick money piece, right, we would be doing this exact same thing in zone 1 still, but we want to add depth back in. So like I was saying, once you're done foiling, you can either go in with Lumi 10 to cover up those braids, and then in between all the foils, the hair that's left out, you can add a lower developer, like, you know, a shot or a low light, so like a 6N, even 7N. Doesn't have to be necessarily dark, and we want a non-high contrast look anyways. So I would go in and add a little bit more depth, at least in zone 1 for the foils, or for the hair that's left out of the foils, because there might be more depth and a lot of the looks that we've been doing more towards the back. So you might not have to actually go in with a low light towards the back. But in zone 1, I would recommend that.
On this next one, they want to know what volumes you are using where on the hair again, so if you want to explain that when you foil.
All right, so for those of you guys that are tuning in again, I just want to say that you guys will be able to go back and rewatch the whole video again, so you guys can understand everything that I did to the T in detail. But let me just go ahead and rephrase really quick again what I did. I went ahead and prepped the Joico Defy Damage Pro 1, which is in salon service only. It's a bond builder, and it is incredible. Makes the hair 5 times stronger, reduces 80% less breakage, maintains 90% more color vibrancy. My theory will give you more greater and even lift. And then we went ahead and sectioned her out into 4 zones. We're going to be doing almost like a partial look on her and breaking up the high contrast look. We started off with Joico Long Life powder lightener volume 5 on her previously lined hair, and then volume 15 on the regrowth area. so that way it all lifts evenly. This will have a higher jump of developer, so it's gonna lift much quicker. And this will just give me a little bit more brightness, that push that I want for the rest of her hair. And it is 1-to-1 ratio of my developer with a lightener, but I like to have a Greek yogurt consistency like this, where I can put enough product on my brush and it doesn't fall off, but also liquidy enough so that way it can seep in and saturate. So you guys can see that I'm applying level 15 on her regrowth, and then level 5 on the previously lightened hair. For those clients that are already bright enough and you don't need to lighten them even more, you can add conditioner. What I like to do is I use by Damage conditioner by Joico, because it has the same smart release technology as the Pro 1 and the Pro 2, which they go together in salon service only. So it's rebuilding and restraining the hair while I'm basically conditioning the ends and then lightening the rest of the regrowth that we need. So it's like you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, treating it while lightening it. And you always want to fold the foils at the demarcation line so that way no developers transfer over. And I just did another bold light. So we basically just followed our hairline. We did big lights all throughout the hairline and then bold light throughout the right behind it. All right, so we did a bold light, and then we're gonna start moving back, and we're gonna be really working only on this mohawk section, and then in zone 4. We're gonna be leaving these sides out and zone 3 out, so that way we can leave still pockets of depth throughout, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and go up on our developers. And again, I'm using Joico Blonde Light Powder Liner. It's my favorite liner to use, you guys. It's incredible. I've literally tried it all. This doesn't have swelling, which I love, and it has 9+ levels of lift, and it's very gentle to the hair. Again, 1-to-1 ratio, and now I'm moving up to level 20. We started off with 15. And then I'm gonna go up to my developer for the middle ends to like a level 8, just to give it a little jump, so the level 5 can catch up to level 8. And again, I love this Greek yogurt consistency. All right, and then we're going up to level 8. How do you make 8 is a little bit more of 10 and 5 ratio. So I like to move up my developers by 5 levels. So if I start with level 5, for example, I'll move up to 5, 10, and 15, 20, 25. So that way everything lifts nice and slow and steady and evenly, instead of me having to feel like I'm waiting for the last section to catch up to the rest of the hair. Okay, and then let's go ahead and keep moving up. So we're gonna be following this mohawk section, working our way towards the back. But as we're working towards the back, I'm gonna be slightly taking a slightly thicker section as we move towards the back with my slices, so we can start breaking up and having more depth towards the back. And we still want to have a little bit more brightness towards the front, but again, very natural, so subtle that you won't really be able to, no one will be able to really tell how much depth there is in between the front and the back, because it's all gonna just flow really nicely together. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start taking a regular light, which is a regular highlight. And we're not doing any teasing today because we want to break up that root base. So we're gonna get as close as possible to that root. And then we're gonna shadow with liquid 6NW by Joico Luma Shine. And the reason why I chose liquid is because liquid is more sheer versus the demi cream that they have is more opaque, so it's gonna be more coverage, because we still want to show the highlights throughout. We just want to deepen them a little bit so that way it has a nicer blended flow from the darker base all the way down to the mid to ends. And don't worry, you guys will be able to see the finished result on my page on Joyco's page and on Causerpop's page. And for those of you that don't follow me, you can on Instagram. My Instagram is Larissa Doll with one S. All right, so now we jumped up our developers and we're on the regrowth area with volume 20. And then on the mid to ends, I previously lined volume 8. So I'm really seeping in enough product, making sure that it's saturated. I dig in with my brush, going kind of the same direction towards the actual hair foil, and making sure that I'm penetrating every single hair strand so that way it is fully saturated. Alright, so we're going to be moving back, and like I said, we're going to be taking slightly thicker section. See, so slight that you won't be able to even tell really, but it's going to be the perfect amount because it's going to give a little bit more depth toward the back. And what we're doing is we're breaking up her high contrast look and giving again a more softer, blended, Jennifer Aniston vibe, because that is what I'm seeing trending, and the high contrast is slowly going away, or the soft and blended look is coming in very hot. Okay, so you see I'm getting really close as possible to that root area. Holding it as tight as I can with my foil to the hair so there's no slippage. Applying enough product so that way it is fully saturated and penetrating, going with my brush fully against into the hair, saturating it. And then blending in, going against the grain this way. And like I was saying earlier, if you guys have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask now, or you can DM me on Instagram or DM Joyco or Causerpop, and we will answer all of your questions as quickly and as efficiently as we can. All right, and we're just going to be moving up. Doing the same type of flow all the way through. But again, the only difference we're doing is we're just taking a slightly, I don't mean slightly, thicker section as we're moving up. So you guys can see that my sections are getting a little bit thicker.
How long have you been doing hair?
I have been doing hair for 12 years now. I graduated in 2010, which is so crazy because I love what I do so much that life just flies by so quickly. The clock definitely does not stop when you love what you do, that's for sure. Okay, and then we're gonna get as close as possible to the hair. So I'm gonna be taking that hair and tightening it out so that way we don't have any extra hair that we don't want to be highlighted. And then tighten as close as possible to the foil with the hair. And applying again, volume 20 now, Joyco Blonde Light Powder Lightener on the regrowth area, and then volume 8 on the previously lightened hair. Also, we have a secret language in the salon because clients are very educated now. They see social media and they know what volume 40 means. They know what a bond builder is. They know a lot of our rules and regulations and kind of just the hair talk now. So what we do in the salon is when I talk to my co-artists, we don't say, oh, we'll give you volume 40, because I feel like the client doesn't need to know what we're doing in the salon. As long as they're comfortable, we're doing our job correctly, that's all that matters. And we want them to have an amazing experience. So instead of say 40, we say 4. So we say in one letter numbers. So we start with volume 2, that's gonna be 20, volume 2.5 is 25, volume 3 is 30, 3.5, 35, and then volume 4 is 40. So just having a little secret language. They don't need to know what's going on. We're doing our job correctly because we are the professionals, and their hair is going to be amazing and beautiful, and that's all that matters. But just going back to having a great experience for the client, we don't want them freaking out in their chair, because I don't know about you, but I feel my client's energy. And when they are nervous, it makes the whole vibe nervous, it makes me nervous, and I want to have an amazing experience as an artist, and then I want the client to have an amazing experience as a client. So just having those little secret language talks really help in the long run with kind of having a nice flow of the full service. So you guys see how so much of the hair is jumping up? So I'm really pushing it down, going up as tight as possible, and then bringing it down the foil. And you guys can tell that there's more depth going throughout the back because we had more brightness towards the front originally. And this is why I'm taking slightly thicker sections as well, because we don't want to get away, lose that depth. Less is more at times. We're just wanting to break up that depth and give it more of a sun-kissed, highlighted effect. Making sure that I'm playing my mid to ends with the lower developer, and I'm not connecting the two developers, so there's no transfer of the lift. Everything is placed exactly where it's supposed to. All right, and our last foil. So you guys can tell that this section is the thickest. You guys can split into two if you want. Really just kind of the look that you're going for. But again, don't overfoil because less is more. We don't want her to end up having so much brightness at the top and then lots of depth and low light at the bottom, because now it's going to take it away from that natural look. And I'm just taking regular light throughout the back. Really disconnecting the hair. So yeah, as close as possible to the root area with my highlight. With my highlight, and I am not, again, teasing the hair because we want to get as close as possible to the root area. So we're gonna shadow her with Liquid Lumishine 6MW, just to blend it in a little bit more, but still seeing those highlights be shown.
Why do you choose to weave in the mid shaft versus closer to the root?
Well, that's a great question. Honestly, I don't even notice that I do that, but I feel like it gives it more of a natural look when I'm highlighting starting in the middle versus making it so perfectly aligned straight across, closer to the root area. I feel like this just kind of breaks up that hair as I'm highlighting. Sometimes you can be a little too efficient, too clean, and you could really just see those highlights come through when you are really particular and close to the root area. Again, saturating enough product so that way every strand gets saturated. So I'm penetrating the hair with my brush like this. And then when I want to get closer to that blend effect, I'm going to go against the grain of my hair. And then always hold at the demarcation line. Beautiful. And then I'm going to go ahead and braid her. If you guys don't want to be adding a low light back in between the foils, and I would make sure that all the hair is away from the face, nice and clean. Clean sections equals clean results. And it just looks cute And a little extra having this braid. It's all the little details. And a great tip too, what I like to do when we have foils so heavy in the front, I like to put cotton in between, really big like cotton balls. So that way it gives it that lift. One's gonna let the hair breathe and lift really nicely, but two is gonna get away from her head and make her more comfortable. So we highlighted zone 1 and then zone 2 mohawk section only. And then we're gonna go ahead and start in the back with zone 4. Again, this is a partial look, but it's gonna look like a full once I'm done with her because we have these highlights that are, I'm starting towards the back, they're gonna fall back. And then we have her hair, we're gonna do highlights here in zone 3, so when she wears her hair up, it's gonna look like a full. And then it's gonna be looking like a full when it's worn down because of the highlights in zone 2 falling back. So again, less is more. So I wanna make your guys' life a little easier by showing you certain looks, certain techniques that I like to do in the salon, which I utilize this technique a lot. That has really been a game changer in efficiency and just the look that I'm going for. All right, so same thing that we did in zone 1, we are going to follow her hairline completely. And she clearly has the perfect hairline. But a lot of times it's gonna be a diagonal back section and just one foil this way with clients. But we're following her hairline because she does have literally the perfect hairline. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and split this into 2. And another tip, what I like to do is I like to put the head, or ask a client to put their head down, and I'll have them look to their right if I'm working on their right-hand side, because their neck is gonna act as a board for me, so that way I can get as close as possible to that root area. It's a little bit more difficult with a doll head, but you guys kind of get the point. And I'm still on volume 20, but I'm going to be moving up right after this foil to volume 25, which in the salon we would say 2.5. And then on the base right here, we're still on volume 8, which we're gonna go up to volume 10. Alright, and I'm gonna fold at that demarcation line, and then fold one more time. Make sure that you fold the sides, especially in the back nape area, because the clients do move their neck around a lot. And I find that sometimes it can slip if we really don't tighten the foils. All right, so same thing on this side. Again, just following the natural hairline, which in her case, it's the perfect hairline. And I'm working on the sides first and then working in the middle. Just like with zone 1, I learned the hard way and I learned from my own mistakes. And if I do the sides first with the foil, it's much easier for me to get to the middle after versus doing the middle and then the sides because this foil is going to be in the way. And then normally I would ask the client to look down and look to the left when I am on the left-hand side. So having zones, like I'm showing you guys now, and the way that I like to color, it just gives me a roadmap, so that way I make sure that I know where I'm starting, where I'm finishing. I know that my foils are gonna be cohesive on both sides, because I'm doing everything exactly the same on both sides. All right, and we're gonna be working our way up now to volume 25. I'm just gonna do half a scoop because we are almost done with our hair. And then volume 10, for the previously lined hair. Again, I'm using 2 developers at the same time because we want everything to lift evenly at the same time. So 25 for the regrowth area. Excuse me. For the regrowth area, and how you make 25 is half and half of 20 and 30. And then on the previously lined hair, we're using volume 10 now, but we did start with volume 5. We just want to have that little extra punch of lift, but not extreme, because she's already previously lightened to a level 8. And I'm using 1:1 ratio Joico Blonde Light Powder Lightener. So again, get as close as possible as you can to the nape hairline area. I know this area could be a little bit difficult and tedious to get as close as possible because of just how the neck and the hair is aligned. And I like to, again, ask them to move their head from the left side down and look to the left so the neck can work as a board for me. Right here at that demarcation line. And hold one more time. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and move downwards. She doesn't like to have her head down. This is the lowest that she will go down, but normally clients can move their neck down a little bit more than this. So this is a little bit more difficult when I'm trying to get as close as possible to the doll head. But you guys get the picture, so you guys can use this on your clients. I'm so excited for you to try out this technique. Please tag me, please tag Joico Cosmetop if you are utilizing this method, these zones, using Joico products. We want to see your guys' work. Okay, and I'm still going to square the hair once I get close to that root area. You don't ever want to leave a harsh demarcation line with your brush because that's already creating that regrowth line. You want it to be nice and soft and sun-kissed. Okay, beautiful. Okay, and we're going to be moving our way up in zone 4. And we're going to just do another regular light on each side. And this is a pretty thick section. We don't want to have a lot of brightness on the bottom. We just want to make sure that it's broken up enough, especially if we have a highlight low light effect, to the point where it starts looking more natural instead of having that high contrast look. And again, I'm using volume 25 now on the regrowth area with Joico Blonde Light Powder Lightener, and then volume 10 on the previously lined hair. And don't worry, you guys, for those of you tuning in right now, you guys can go back and rewatch this full video from the beginning once we are done with the live. Or you can DM me to ask me any questions. So go to Cosmetop. And please let me see your work. I would love to see your guys' work if you're going to be utilizing these methods. And you will see the finished result on all of our pages as well, so don't worry. All right, and then last foil on the opposite side. This is a pretty easy technique method. and you guys can utilize it and make it your own, tailor it to your client. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. And you guys will notice and see once you are done how beautiful the results are. Because again, less is more sometimes. And having these zones just really helps me make sure that my look is cohesive, gives me a roadmap from where to start to finish. And it's very easy for me to teach and educate you guys by letting you know exactly which place I'm at all times. Alright, and in volume 10. I'm just laying here, like I was saying, you guys can add conditioner or do a mask. I'm just laying here if you do not need to brighten up the hair, and just apply lightener on the regrowth areas. That way you're basically killing two birds with one stone. So I'm gonna give you guys another look. We are done with this method. So quick, so easy, and so efficient. So we had zone 1 that we followed the whole hairline throughout. The only difference that we did after the hairline, after the baby light, we did a bold light just to still have a little bit brightness around the face. And then as we moved towards the back of the mohawk section, we did slightly thicker sections, moving back and just doing a regular light, which is a regular highlight throughout the back mohawk section here. And then we went to zone 3, again following the hairline with the baby lights and then a regular light right behind it. So very quick, very easy, minimal foiling, impactful results. Again, you guys can go ahead and utilize a shadow or a low light by applying low light in between all the hair that's left out. Or you guys can cover up the grays by using Lumi 10, which is our 10-minute gray coverage. It's incredible. You guys will love it, and it works so quickly. I really hope you guys enjoy this quick technique, how to go away from high contrast to more soft blended look. Again, apologize for losing my voice, slowly coming back. And I have fun with you guys. I hope you're having a beautiful Monday. Happy Easter, everyone. And I love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in. Mwah.